Hello, this is Molly Reamer with Bridget's Grove with this week's mini ritual for the Creative Spirit Circle. And today we are using the Sacred Traveler Oracle, a little assist from the Illustrated Herbiary, since this is our month of Aramid and the theme is healing, and we're talking about herbs and different plant magics and forming your relationship with the herbs and plants in your life. I decided to draw a little assistance from the Illustrated Herbiary in addition to the cards from previous weeks from the Herb Crafters Tarot. And so we are going to go ahead and start actually with the card, and also the Story Gods Oracle and an affirmation deck from Linda Fabry. I have a new little tripod thing here to do hopefully a more clear video. But it's a little unfamiliar to me, so I'm getting used to how to use it, as well as being able to see both my hands instead of holding things one-handed. And so anyway, we're going to go ahead and start with the Sacred Traveler Oracle. And for this week, we received Wandering Path. Enjoy the journey. Oops, that's my little tripod arm catching my hand there, but enjoy the journey. And so we'll go ahead and check in with what the author, Denise Lynn, has to say about that card. But my first thought on it is, where are you wandering? Where is your path leading you? Are you enjoying the journey? Do you have confidence that you can make your own path, that you can follow your own map, that you can make your own path by walking? And so the author of the book says that you don't always have to know where you are going. You don't always need to know where you are going. And I find that a really awesome connection to some previous videos about being at the threshold, at the crossroads, choosing a path forward, deciding where to go, instead of setting up camp in the crossroads, but instead allowing yourself to choose a direction, trusting that you can go back if you need to, that a choice doesn't necessarily have to be permanent. Some choices are permanent, but choices don't necessarily have to be permanent. You don't always have to know where you are going. So accept the fact that sometimes the path in life is circuitous and meandering. Yet know that you're always exactly where you need to be. So an affirmation for this week could be, I am exactly where I need to be. And then she goes on to say, even if it doesn't feel like it, be present with your journey. Embrace everything you encounter on the path. Accept what is. This is the key to inner power. So I am open and accepting could be another affirmation for this week. I am open and accepting. So the Sacred Traveler wants you to know, when you are traveling, you are in the present moment. A mystic traveler has no specific goals for the future and is not focused upon the destination. Everything is fresh and new. At times, it is difficult to accept everything that occurs on the road of life, especially if the road seems to twist and turn in unexpected ways. It is an act of courage and faith to accept what is and to keep going. Have faith that you're on the road you're meant to travel on. Accepting what is, and I find this is really important to emphasize, accepting what is doesn't mean you can't work to change it, because you can. And so I think, and I feel that I experience this in my own life, like softening into acceptance of what is, witnessing without fixing it, is not the same as capitulating to apathy or surrendering to despair, but there's, instead of struggling against it or arguing with reality, as Wayne Dyer would say, instead of arguing with reality, if we can accept what is and where we are, then we can actually take steps to change it instead of arguing with reality or struggling and fighting against it. So that is a useful concept. She also notes, if there's something that you can't accept, start by accepting the fact that you can't accept it. Isn't that awesome? So if there's something that you can't accept the fact that you can't accept it and start from there. Allowing for your own wandering path is the key to grace and peace in your life. Allowing your own wandering path is the key to grace and peace in your life. And so we're going to go ahead and slip on over to this mugwort card from the Illustrated Herbiary. But first, I wanted to share something with you. I told you I was going to be reading this book, Awakening Artemis, during our month of Aramid, even though Aramid and Artemis are not the same goddess, but there's an herbal connection here. So this book is written by an herbal healer. And when I saw that the mugwort card had emerged, it made me really it was a really interesting connection because that is the first herb that this Awakening Artemis book starts with, is mugwort. That's the first herb that she connects with. That's the first herb that guides her journey. And so the piece that I just wanted to share briefly from that book is that she writes, one of the first assignments I give my herbalism students is to check in with themselves each day to become better acquainted with their inner terrain. I ask that they devote time as little as 5 minutes a day to tune into their body and journal about what they find. Physical symptoms are a message that something in the body, mind, soul, or spirit is out of balance. When we simply treat the symptoms of the imbalance, we might mask them, but we're not getting to the root of why they're happening. And so the question there that I find helpful is to inquire with your inner terrain every day. I feel like that's what 30 Days of Goddess invites us to become familiar with, is we really become familiar with our inner terrain and the wisdom of our deep inner life, and the wisdom, the terrain of our own external lives too, the terrain of our own physical landscapes. We start to trust it, we start to lean into. We keep learning from it and growing because of our relationship with the external terrain and with our inner terrain. So the practice for this week, for this month, for your life, is to get to know your inner terrain. And so an affirmation might be, I get to know my inner terrain, or I trust my inner terrain, or I explore my inner terrain, or I wander through my inner terrain. So lots to explore and experiment with that concept of the inner terrain. So back to mugwort. And this one, the theme for this one is between dreams. And she writes that mugwort lives in the space between deep rest and waking. She's the daughter of the moonlight and protector of those who travel the dream time. Mugwort curls around your mind, whispering your dreams into words and images that you can clutch as you climb levels of consciousness and return to your waking self. Mugwort's constant vigil can make her a bit waspish and bitter, but she knows the many layered worlds and can guide you through the serpentine paths of collective unconscious. I didn't even realize the connection there between the two, with the wandering path and the serpentine paths of the collective unconscious. Call on her to guide you through dreams or journey work. So we could have something like, I listen to my dreams. I listen to my dreams. So another practice for this week, this month, might be to keep a dream journal, or just pay attention to your dreams and what your dreams are asking of you. Dreams have different textures, and they can indicate whether a dream is simply emptying the unconscious mind or inviting you on a passage into a different state of consciousness. So you probably know the difference between a dream that feels really meaningful and symbolic and almost like a type of initiation. I've had dreams that have lingered with me for years. I've made significant decisions in my life based on dreams. And then there's lots of other dreams where you can tell it's just a mix together of something you've been watching, or something you've read, or something you were thinking about before you went to bed, or a symptom of anxiety, or whatever it is, and you can kind of tell the difference. So dreams can always be valuable, even if the dreams are related to things like, a symptom of anxiety or something you watched the night before. You can still learn from our dreams, but there's dreams that go deeper, that actually inform us, and that are possibly a voice from that inner terrain speaking to us. So there are different spaces in which you dream, and this is how we explore mugwort's mysteries. And so that is a support herb for us this month. And then very quickly, the affirmation from Linda Fabry's deck: celebrate community with an emphasis on the unity. When the world outside seems cold, come together to warm your hearts by dancing in the frozen sparkles. So how are you nurturing your own sense of community? How are you tending to your connections? How are you nourishing community and connection? And then we're going to go to my ritual packet with the Aramid card. These are resources for the Goddess Magic community on Patreon. And so the theme was heal. I listen to my own wisdom. I follow my own wandering path. I listen to my inner terrain. And let's see, I have various notes in here. I return to center. These are like the core things that I'm keeping close at hand this month. And so I have two pieces, one's that I want to share or emphasize. One's directly related to the celebrating community. And it is this: I am radically attentive, refusing to be hijacked by despair. In this moment, I kindle a hopeful spark that it may rise into healing action. I am here. There is good to be done. I have the courage to tend my thread in the web. And then this one, and this I find over and over and over again to be true. If there's anything I have learned from years of practice, it is that longing offers us a roadmap back home. There is no too late, there is now. I remember that my promise is to be in devotion, not to be perfect. My ritual today is to forgive myself and to begin again with what I have. So in affirmation, I begin again with what I have. And I didn't even realize, again, the connection here, the roadmap to the wandering path, to the path from your dreams, to the inner terrain. So it is all connected. So may you listen to your dreams this week. May you listen to your inner terrain. May you follow your own wandering path. May you tend to community. May you listen to your own wisdom. And may you keep living your magic. Thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye, everybody.